What's going on, beautiful people? We are back again with another Mental Max Out podcast. I'm your host, Akeem Robinson. And for those of you joining us for the first time, thanks for checking it out. Mental Max Out is all about helping people change their perspectives, think differently, and get out of the hole. If you're back again, I celebrate your willingness to continue growing and challenging your mind. Remember, if you like what you hear today, make sure you hit that subscribe button or whatever platform you're listening from. Share it with a friend and follow us on social media at Mental Max Out Podcast. Today I want to talk about finding clarity in the middle of the storm. Sometimes it's finding clarity in all the busyness. Me being from Miami, Florida, it's always been one of those crazy situations where when I look up at the calendar and it's August and September, it's hurricane season. And I've always grew up just knowing that something's going to happen, and I hope it just doesn't hit us. But one thing about hurricanes is they always start off as tropical storms, and they get that way because of how long they stay in the water. Tropical storms become hurricanes because the heat, the amount of times they stay in the water, and they're just gaining strength. And the wind, they're going across Florida, they're going across the coast, and they're just wreaking havoc on anything they see. Can you relate to that at all? Does that sound like you? You're in the middle of this tropical storm, and the more you try to control, it gets bigger and it gets crazier. And maybe that's not you, but I'm gonna be honest, it feels like me every day. I swear, me and Allison, we're juggling my dissertation, her projects, Serena, and how we're trying to do things, and they shouldn't be big deals, but sometimes they do feel that way. Maybe that's you. And trying to juggle how you're handling your daily situations with your family, finances. It's something that's always coming up that you're trying to make it make sense, and it's just not. And something that turns into this shouldn't be that big of a deal is just creating a terrible situation and a feeling, and it's now starting to affect other people in your family. When we're in the middle of those tropical storms and potentially hurricanes, how do you think you got there? Maybe you got there because you were trying to control everything, trying to slow it down, and in you trying to slow it down, you were trying to do this and juggling that and trying to take control over this situation. And when you did that, guess what? Now everything's crazy. Is that you? Are you in that similar situation all the time of how did I end up here? And is that partly because of what you've been trying to do and controlling the process? It can be hard to find clarity when you're trying to control everything. I can't even count the amount of times Allison has asked me, hey, can you go get this for me? And I'm like, oh, no problem, babe, I got you. And I go into another room and, where she said it was, it's not there. And if I was just turned around and say, hey, babe, I don't see it. Can you show me? But no, my pride then kicks in. And now a minute goes by and I still haven't found it. All I should do is just turn around and say, babe, I still haven't found it. But then now my ego kicks in and I'm still searching for it. Now I'm sweating. Now I'm getting pissed because she sent me on this wild goose chase. And, maybe after 10 minutes, I didn't say to her, babe, I can't find this. And now I'm pissed because I think she's lying. And she comes in the room and she's like, it's right here. How often are you seeking help from other people when you can't find what you're looking for? How many times do we let that pride kick in, that ego kick in, and those distractions just continue to knock us off course before we just ask for help? Things that were not meant to be that complicated now blow out of proportion. Is that you? Trying to control all these narratives in your life, but you can't. Take it one day at a time. Look at what's the most important thing. What's the priority for the day? Early in our relationship, Allison and we were long distance, and in that time frame, I had a chance to work at a university, and I was able to work with one of the coaches who I did not know was going to be on staff, but he coached me when I was at Clemson. Good old D Love. And I was so pumped that I got the chance to work with a guy that I admired and respected, and he was now working alongside me. Not only did our friendship continue to grow, but I remember just one time hanging out with him, and I said to him, how do you do it, man? You've been coaching for almost 20 years. You have Super Bowls. You've coached great athletes. How do you do it and still be able to be a great dad and have a marriage and family? And he just looked at me and he said, I keep the main thing the main thing. What's that main thing for you? When we're dealing with a storm, what's that main thing for you to keep you grounded? That one thing to keep everything in line and keep you from going off the tracks. Because so many times we're trying to do too many things. And in us doing too many things, we lose sight of what that main thing was in the beginning. And we get overwhelmed. We get frustrated. We feel pressure because we lost sight of that main thing. So before the end of the day, ask yourself, what's the main thing? Now I get it. I know what you're thinking. Akeem, how on earth can I do that? That makes no sense. I have to get these bills. I have to make sure my kid is going to practice. And I get it. Because trust me, now with Serena and still trying to stay married, oh my goodness, I get it. But we do have to keep the main thing, so we don't get overwhelmed. So here's some things that might be able to help you. Find your support system. I can't stress to you how important it is to have people around you that support you, that you can call up at different times of the day, give them the craziest stories or analogies of things, and there's no judgment. Having those people around you are lifesavers. They are very important people in your lives, and they're not always just friends. They're people that you have at different stages of your life that can speak into it. I remember for me, when I was literally going through surgery after surgery after surgery, I had no idea what to do, and my brain was just so devastated, and my thoughts were so negative that I just couldn't talk to friends. I couldn't talk to my parents. I had to go to my support system, and they helped get me out of it. I remember also in times of my marriage when I felt like things were going crazy and I just needed to look at it differently. I had people in my support system that fit that. So find people in your support system that can help you in that particular season that you may be in, because they can speak to it. Another thing you can do, and I know some of you might scratch your head or you might not think of it like that, but pray about it. Sometimes just prayer and being in a state of meditation and being in a state of just calmness where you can separate yourself from the busyness, the chaos, and just go into prayer, you'll get so many answers. Another thing is focus on what you can control. Because here's the other thing, man, you always gonna be busy. God willing, you wake up tomorrow, I wake up tomorrow, you gonna be busy. There's somebody gotta get dropped off. You gotta go pick up the food. And so focus on what you can control. Because a lot of times, the things that we're so hectic about and that we just panic about, we can't control it in that moment or at that time. Sometimes we just need to be able to take a step back. When we're in these mental tropical storms and just these moments of pressure, we just need to be able to find rest. There's so many times where we're in the state of busyness, get it done, check this list, check this box, that it can become overwhelming, feeling like you're always behind. It's okay to take a mental break. It's perfectly fine to say, I'm overwhelmed. I have too much on my plate and I need to do something to clear my mind. So what is that? But you have to be careful in not saying, I'm going to spend the next 4 hours scrolling. I'm going to spend a huge amount of time binge watching my show, because now it no longer becomes a mental break. That now is a distraction. We can take a break. Realize for yourself that rest can change. Give your rest the permission to be different. Something that you might enjoy today probably might cause pressure in your life a month from now. For example, Allison loves to cook, and I love when she cooks. But there's times when, let me tell you, she's got pressure and she just can't cook. And there's times where she says, I want to do it, but it's just too much. And I need to tell her, this is a mental break that you need to take. So what's that mental break for you? Understand that you can give it permission to change. So you need more than one. So we've been talking a lot about storms, and now I'm going to hit you with the real stuff. Sometimes we need the storm. We need the valleys. You know, when people say I'm a motivational speaker and I do all these things, everybody automatically goes to the positive. But the only reason why we like motivational speakers and these testimonies is because you have been tested. The valleys and the storms that we go through cause us moments to pause. They give us these moments where we have to take a break and we have to say, hold on, I got way too many things going on. I need to stop because if I continue on this path, things will not be good. Now, hear me. What I'm trying to say is, I want to get you out of it just as quickly, but also don't rush to get out of it. Understand why we're there. I want to get you out, just like I said, as quickly as possible. And for me, it's funny to listen to Allison, and she says, our baby's getting so big. And where did all the time go? And it's happening so fast. And I look at her like, child, please. Because I'm telling you right now, I felt every one of those days. And I'm so thankful for this family, but there were some valleys. And it was tough. But I appreciate them. I appreciate what she was doing and how she kept this family together. Even though it may seem like the cycle of life is going in fast forward, it truly is a time for me to reflect and say, wow, we got out of that valley because we leaned into each other. We kept God at the center. We were able to give thanks when we didn't have a lot to be thankful for. So when you're in the middle of those seasons, you can provide time to pause and reflect on the good, even though you might be in the middle of a bad. Taking a time to pause and being thankful for what I do have. We need that ability to reflect to see where we're going. And seeing where we're going, that now provides the clarity that you've been seeking. When we're talking about these storms, the reason why you can't see anything is because you have no clarity, you have no direction, and you're trying to rush to get out of the situation. Or what about this? Or what about this? You've been hit with back-to-back storms, and they're repeated. You can't even come up for air because they're just constantly hitting you. That might be you. That might be the situation you're in right now where you have plans, you have situations, finances, all of these things are happening all at once and you just want to break and you can't. So the victories feel like there's absolutely none and no one's on your side. What do we do? How do we start to actually lessen those chaotic seasons and start to work our way out of it? Start with self-care. You have to provide yourself the safety. You have to pour back into yourself before anybody else can get taken care of. I think we forget this concept sometimes because we have to do so many things and we put these titles on us that we have to be the provider. We have to make the money. We want to do the things that people look at us for. But what about you? If you don't recharge yourself like your phone, then you're not any good. You're not going to be useful at 0%. You're not going to find that clarity and you're not going to be able to reflect. You have to be able to pour some kind of self-care, some kind of attention back to you. And guess what? I'm going to be the first to tell you that is okay. You have the permission to give yourself time to breathe, to cry, to just be able to say, things are nuts and this is what I need. It may be 10 minutes, it may be an hour. But now you can tell the people that are around you every day, I know you need me for whatever, but I need 10 minutes. Hey, I know when you come home, this is happening, but when you come home, give me 30 and I'll be good. You have the permission to do that. So in order to get to where you're going, you need the clarity, but you have to pour back into yourself. So ask yourself, what do you think you need? What will help you in this moment of starting to quiet some of those back-to-back storms? Tropical storms end one of two ways. They're going to keep getting stronger to the point where they're hurricanes. And for you, that hurricane is you're doing too much. You're taking on way too many responsibilities. You are trying to be a superhero when you know you need help. And guess what? It's going to hit land and it's going to be a category 5 and everything in its path is going to get destroyed. Or you can keep it as a tropical storm and reflect, delegate, give thanks, pray, and you can calm some of those storms that you're in the middle of
and be the best version of yourself. Today was meant to be short and sweet because in a lot of our seasons, we ain't got that much time. So if you did take the time to listen to this, we don't want you to head to a path of destruction. So try one of these and lessen some of those storms.